Right, so good afternoon, teachers, and welcome to the first session of our Blogging 101 course. To honor those of you who entered our classroom on time, we're going to get started. Our trainer, Magdalena Tiburcio, is already here with us and ready to start working. As you can see in the chat box, she has just shared a file with all of you. Even though there's still teachers coming in the room, again, to honor those of you who were here on time, we're going to get started. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to leave you with Magda now.
Great. Okay. Well, I would like to say that I am not that good with Zoom, so I might be a little bit slow sometimes, but I am good with blogs, so that's the important part here. So thank you, Jimena, for the invitation. My name is Magdalena Tiburcio. I am the academic coordinator for Richmond Publishing here in Mexico. And greetings from Mexico City. It's sunny and then rainy and then sunny again. So we have a very nice weather right now. And welcome to the Blogging 101 course. During this course, we have a very clear objective, which is basically to have the ability to blog with our students, especially if you're teaching teenagers and adults. It's possible to blog with younger learners, but it's a little bit more complicated since they are minors and they might not have a Gmail account, for example. So it's safer if you blog with teenagers and adults. So I have created a blog for this course in order to be logic with what I am proposing. Everything you need to know about the course will be in that blog. You can visit this blog after we finish the session. The name is blogging101richmond.blogspot.com, and in there I will be posting every week information that we talk about during these sessions. We will explore the blog in a minute so you can get to know it. So these are the 4 sessions that we will have. This is the first session, June 2, then June 9, June 16, and June well spelled 23, and we will be here for an hour. The idea of the session is that you get the important information that you need and then you practice. So the objective is that by the end of the course you have a blog. And of course, blogging requires practice as everything else. So it's quite important that if you are planning to blog with your students, you practice as much as possible. Okay, so what to expect from this course? Let's get started. First of all, we will get familiarized with vocabulary related to blogging. I shared a file with you, and this file is a glossary. So this glossary has some interesting posts, some interesting terms that you will need, and I also have a post in our blog, in our class blog, where you will be able to see this information as well. We also want you to create your own blog. Now, I have already given this blog in Mexico, this course in Mexico. And what I would like to say is that it's not compulsory that you create your blog right away, because creating a blog requires that you have enough time. So if you don't feel ready to start blogging just now, I think the information will be useful. So you start practicing whenever you have the time. Also, something very, very important if you are blogging as a teacher is to learn how to manage your settings to make your blog a safe space. As you know, blogs can be accessed by anyone, anywhere in the world. So you want to make sure that your blog is safe for your students. Even if they are adults, you wouldn't want everyone to be able to get into your blog. So I will show you how to manage your settings to make sure it's safe. Also, we will talk about how to create activities for your students. I will give you some ideas, and I have created another blog where you will find some sample activities that I have designed so you can have a pretty good idea of what is possible to do when you have a blog. And finally, the last thing that we will do on the last session is I will give you some ideas of where to find resources and inspiration to feed your blog. The most common problem that happens when you start a blog is that at the beginning, you have lots of fresh ideas to blog every day or every week. But as you go on, you start running out of ideas. The same thing happens in class. When you are teaching your lessons and at the beginning of the course, you have lots of ideas for games, activities, and tasks. But as you move on, sometimes what happens is that you can think of what to do next. So I will give you some ideas of where to find sources. And once again, you will be able to access some extra information in the blog that I have created for you. Let's get started with the session. And the very first, I am going to turn off my camera, but I'm going to keep, of course, sharing the screen. So what is a blog? A blog is the combination of web plus log. I'm not sure if you are old enough to remember Doogie Howser. Do you remember that TV show where there was this kid who was a genius and he was a doctor even though he was a teenager? And at the end of every session, at the end of every episode, he would enter something in his log, like a diary, like a journal, where he would be writing about his day. So that is what a log is, and this is similar, but it's online, so that's why it's a blog. In a blog, you usually share your thoughts, your ideas, your experiences, and I'm very sure that you have visited blogs, maybe not about teaching, but maybe cookery blogs or blogs where they talk about makeup, or if you are into video games, there are lots and lots of blogs where they talk about video games. So blogs can be about everything you would like to know. A more recent movie, just in case you don't remember Doogie Howser, could be Julie and Julia. In this movie, the main character started a blog where she was going to cook every single recipe from Julia Child's book. And she was blogging every experience with pictures, with her ideas, and people all around the world would comment. So this is a kind of blog, but what we are going to do with our students, it's a little bit different. So for example, in here, as I mentioned, in a blog, you can have something like a journal, but it's online. And you can display photos, you can display audio, video, etc. So it's a really enriching environment where you can work. Now, in the glossary that I shared with you, I included some interesting terms that we use when we are blogging. For example, draft, a post, to publish, the settings, a tag, etc. I will be mentioning these words during today's session, but you will also see some of this information in the glossary, right? So let me visit my blog. Once again, I am new to Zoom, so it could take a little while for me to learn how to switch the screens. Please let me know if you can see my Google Chrome and you
Yes,
see
we
a
can.
blog. Okay, awesome, that's great. So this is the Richmond Blogging 101 blog, and in here I will be publishing important information that we talk about during every session. So this is the very first activity, and the very first activity is called what do you want a blog for, right? So, and it even has a little questionnaire that you can use. I will teach you how to do activities like this, because for example, if I click here, this takes me to an online survey, and then I get this information. So this is quite useful. I will show you how to do these kinds of activities. I also mentioned the glossary. The glossary is right here. So I already gave you a PDF where you have the glossary. Here's the same information, but what is different in this blog is that you can add your comments. So if you would like to add more definitions, or if you have questions, you can come into the blog and you can add comments in this part, and then you can give us extra information or further information on this, right? So this is the blog, and we will learn how to use it. Now, something important for you to know is that I will be using Blogger. Blogger is the blogging, well, it's the blogging tool that we have with Google, right? It's for free. So what is the connection between blogging and ELT, you might ask? In ELT, in English language teaching, there are 3 different kinds of blogs that you can have. There is the tutor blog, the class blog, and the learner blog. In this course, you will learn how to create a tutor blog and a class blog. Not exactly a learner blog, because this requires a little bit more independence from your students, but I will show you how to do it as well. I took this information from this journal. I also included this information in the blog that I have shared with you. So if you go to our blog that looks like this, there is a post that it's called What is a Blog? So if you enter here, you will find the links to these sources of information. In case that you are curious and you would like to learn more about this, you can find this information here. The name of the post is called What is a Blog? Okay? So if you would like to learn a little bit more detail on the information that I will share with you, you can read the entire journal article in there. So also, as I mentioned, we have these 3 different kinds of blogs that you can use. The first one is the tutor blog. In a tutor blog, the person that has the entire control of the situation is the teacher. This means that you as the teacher decide what gets published, you decide the content, and basically the only thing that your students can do is to write comments. This is the perfect kind of blog if you want to share information with your students. So it happens very frequently. I don't know if you experience this, but as a teacher, it's very common that you would like to give your students more reading activities or assignments, or you would like them to watch more videos, but there is simply not enough time to do these things in class. So a blog, a tutor blog, is an excellent way in which you can share more information with your students, and they can even comment. So this makes it very interesting for you because you can be in communication. So in a tutor blog, you can have a reading practice, as I mentioned, and something super cool is that if you like an article from the newspaper, you can simply post the link in your blog and your students will be able to read it. Now, back in the days, I know that I don't look that old, but back in the days, if you wanted to use a newspaper article with your students, you had to buy the newspaper. And here in Mexico, the only place where you could buy those newspapers, those fancy New York Times newspapers, was in the airport. So you would have to go to the airport, buy the newspaper in paper, bring it back to your school, and cut and photocopy very carefully so you would keep the thing and you could use it over and over. Nowadays, it's super easy to share something from a newspaper with your students and get them in contact with real English, things that they will really find in the real world. So if you are the kind of teacher that loves these kinds of activities, a blog is a perfect forum for you to share this information with them. Also, you can promote exploring English websites. If there is a particular website that you would like your students to explore, you can even design a web quest in your blog, and this way your students can visit that website that you liked. Also, it encourages online verbal exchange by using the comment button. So I am very sure that one of the most difficult skills that there is to develop and to teach is writing. So the more writing your students can practice, the better. And in this case, in a blog, you can only communicate by writing. So it's a perfect way in which your students can practice everyday writing, not just a composition or an essay. Sometimes you just have to write a message, a short message, and that's good enough practice. Also, it can also provide information that it's extra from your syllabus. So let's say that in class you were reading about Shakespeare, you were reading about that guy, it was a biography, and you would like your students to get more information about this character, you can post extra information in your blog. And also it's a good source to share with your students links where they can practice by themselves. I used to work in a language center for many years, and a typical thing that my adult learners would ask was for extra practice, where they could find some extra practice. And you know, to avoid writing on a little post-it all the websites they can visit, you can also you can actually create a post in your blog where you can share the links and they just click on them and visit the websites. So there are many things that you can do. I will be giving ideas of how to create activities for your tutor blog. The other kind of blog that we have is the class blog. This is my favorite class of, my favorite type of blog, but it requires a little bit more participation from your students. So what is different between a tutor blog and a class blog is that in the class blog, everybody can publish. So this means that your students can also they can also share videos, they can share pictures, they can write more thorough stuff, and I will show you how to fix the settings in Blogger in order to have a tutor blog or a class blog. This you will learn today, and we will be practicing this during every session. So what is the difference between having a tutor blog and a class blog, besides you having the control in the tutor blog and all the students participating in the class blog? Well, this could be used as a bulletin board for your learners, similar to a forum in a website. They can post messages, they can post pictures, links, you can follow up classroom topics. Also, this is an excellent platform for you to share project-based activities. So for example, let's say that your students were researching about famous characters from English literature, and they have to find information about this character and a picture and a little excerpt of their work. Instead of displaying this in paper around your classroom, you can ask your students to create a post so everybody can visit the post and everybody can comment, etc. So it becomes more interactive, more interesting. And my suggestion is that first you start with the tutor blog, you learn how Blogger works, and then you can come into the adventure of a class blog. Also, my suggestion before blogging with your students, create a class blog with other teachers that want to experiment, or if you make friends during this experience in Blogging 101, maybe you can create a collective class blog where you can practice, right? So you can be each other's guinea pigs. And well, basically the class blog becomes an extension of your classroom, right? But in a virtual form, in a digital form. Let me know if I'm going too fast. When I get excited about the topic, I just go very, very fast. So you can ask me to hold my horses in case I'm going way too fast. Here I can see you in the chat. And as I mentioned, well, a class blog would be the best experience for blogging. Finally, I mentioned there were three. There's one more kind of blog, which is the learner blog. A learner blog is probably the best way in which your students could create something. But the reality is that you have absolutely no control in a learner blog. Okay, in a learner blog, someone is asking if I'm talking about blogger.com. Yes, I'm talking about blogger.com. I will go to the website in a minute so you can see it. So a learner blog is an individual experience for every student. So in these blogs, your students, they have a blog, an individual blog or per teams, and they can display projects or portfolios. If you are practicing writing a lot, I mean, if you practice a lot of writing in your class, instead of having a paper, a boring paper where your students are writing, they can actually write on their blogs and post them. And then you can visit their blogs and check their writings there. So it becomes a bit of a more dynamic experience. And the idea here, again, in a learner blog is that it's created by your students and they choose the contents, etc. And basically your job as the teacher is to monitor these blogs, to visit them, to write comments, and to promote that people in the classroom visit each other's learner blogs. Let me check the chat. I think I have another question. Oh, it's just a greeting. Hi, Gloria. How are you? As I mentioned, if you would like to learn more about these different types of blogs, if you would like to read the entire thing, visit blogging101richmond.blogspot.com, and in there you will be able to read the entire article. I posted 2 articles, one by the British Council, which is really cool, and one article from the ELT Journal, which is kind of cool as well. So now, if you create a blog and it's very pretty and it works well, but you have no objective in using a blog, then what's the point? So this is the very first activity that I would like you to think about. So Mariana is asking, when we create the blog, it becomes public or we have to set it? You have to set it. Don't worry, I will show you all this information. Your blog can be public. This means that everyone can see it, but you can also make it very safe by selecting a specific group of readers. So I will show you how to do this in the settings, right? The blog that I shared with you is public. Everyone can see it and everyone can comment. But this is because I don't have underage students and I'm not worrying about about other people finding the blog. It would be very unlikely. But I will show you how to make it safe, right? So the very first thing that you should worry about is, what do you want a blog for? And this very, very first activity is here in the class blog, in Blogging 101, and this is the very first activity. So I would like you, if you have the time, to complete this questionnaire. This questionnaire has the objective of helping you reflect on what you want a blog for. Okay, so as you can see, the very first thing, the very first question that you have to think about is, what do you want to use a blog for? Do you want to use a blog to display videos, to display readings? Would you like your students to be writing themselves? Would you like your students to post themselves? Or is it just a platform that you want to use for your learners to read information? The second question that you should think about is your learners. Think about the learners you want to use this blog with. Note down their main characteristics. Are they teenagers? Are they very techie? Are they business people? Are they adults? Are they university students? Who are they? How often do they use technology? Now, during this pandemic that we are living, where education has moved completely online, you probably have noticed that lots of students know how to TikTok, but that doesn't mean they know how to use technology for learning or for education. So it's very important that you take into account how techy your students are. Posting something on Facebook or creating a TikTok video or going on Instagram. That's no rocket science. If you are into it, you can do it, but it's very different to create a blog and to produce content. So it's quite important that you think about what kind of students they have, okay? In order for you to do the survey, you only have to visit this blog. It's not necessary that you do the survey now. My suggestion is that you do this survey when you have the time to reflect about this. To visit this survey, hold on a minute. To visit this survey, I am going to...
Can you
yes?
maybe copy and paste the address to the blog into the chat room?
That's exactly what I'm doing.
There you go. Thank you.
You read my mind.
There you go.
That's exactly the post, okay? It's blogging101 richmond.blogspot.com, and I posted exactly the link where you can find this particular entry, okay? So whenever you have the time, visit this entry and make sure that you answer the survey. It's not compulsory. Nothing in this course is compulsory except the attendance if you want a certificate. But if you want to do the activities, this will help you a lot. And then this is going to be a very important part. Think about possible names for your blog. You will notice that you start creating your blog and then they ask you, how do you want your blog to be called? And then you freeze and you're thinking, okay, so this is a tough one. So use this survey whenever you have time and try to think about possible names for your blog. Now, many teachers ask, is it possible that in the same account I have different blogs? The answer is yes. You can have as many blogs as you want to. For example, if you are teaching 7 different classes and you would like to have a blog for each one of those classes, you can create 7 different blogs. So now, I do not recommend that you have 7 different blogs. I don't recommend that you start with 7 different blogs. Choose very carefully who would you like to work in blogs with, and choose a group that you like and practice with them first. I think it's important that you select a group of learners that are willing to participate. Do not choose the most blah group that you have, because if you do that, you will be very disappointed. They won't log in. So choose a class of students who would like to join the blog, okay? Let me check the comment section in here. It's you? Ah, okay.
Clarifying the URL.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Jime. Well, this is the very first question then. The very first question would be, what do you want to have a blog for? And it is important that you think about this because you will be blogging often, and it's important that you have a clear idea of what you want to get out of this project, right? So you already saw these questions in the real thing, and you can visit the blog entry. Now, let's do what everyone wants to know, which is creating a blog. So step number 1 to create a blog, you need a Gmail account. I am going to use Blogger. Blogger is Google's tool to blog. Why did I choose blog? There are 3 main reasons why I chose Blogger. The very first one is that I have been using Blogger since 2007 or 6, which means that I am very experienced with Blogger, and I can give you some tips and ideas that will be useful. The second is that Blogger is for free, and I am very sure that you don't want to pay to create a blog. So Blogger is always free and it's very easy to use. And the third one, because Blogger allows you to fix the settings so it's as private or as public as you want it to be. So again, the most important thing is that it's free and it starts with a Gmail account. So the very first thing you need is this, a Gmail account. Then what you have to do is to get into Gmail. Well, not into Gmail, sorry. You need to get into Google, and you know there is this little box, I call it the waffle. You click on the waffle, which is this, this little cluster of squares. And if you click on that little waffle, you will find some extra resources that you can use from Google. You can click on Blogger, right? If this seems too complicated, there is another way to enter, which is by just typing www.blogger.com, and that's it, right? And you log in using your Gmail account. So once again, it's very important that you have a Gmail account before you get into Blogger, because it's one of the tools in Google. So once you enter, you have to choose your Blogger profile. My suggestion, and this is a personal suggestion, is that you create a Gmail account, your teacher Gmail account, not your personal Gmail account, because your students will be able to see this Gmail account. So if you don't want to share it with your students, if you don't want to share your real Gmail account with your students, it's important that you create an account that you will only use for teaching. And you choose a profile in your blog. For example, you can be Miss Magda, or you can be Teacher Francisco, etc., whatever you want to choose. Once that you have created this, then you have to choose a name for your blogger. This is why I was telling you that it's important that you start thinking about a name, because if not, you spend here for a long while. And then you choose the address, right? So for example, I chose Richmond Blogging 101, that's the name of my blog. And then I chose this as the address. The cool thing about Blogger is that it tells you if it is available or not. So if you see this little tick, it means that it's available and you can use it. And then you have to choose a theme. And the theme is basically the design. Right now, I am just talking about it, but I will log into Blogger in a minute so you can see. Okay, so let's get down to business. Let me get into my browser and show you how this is done. So let's say that here I am in Gmail, as we mentioned. So this is my personal account. In order to get into my blog, I can click on the waffle and find Blogger, and that's it. Or I can simply type blogger.com, and it will get me into Blogger, right? As I mentioned, I have a personal Gmail account, and I have a Richmond Gmail account, and here's where you will find my blog, right? So let's create a blog. In here I have created plenty, but I'm going to create a new one. Okay, so let's create a new blog, and we are going to call this new blog Blogging with Latin America. Well, I don't know, it sounds fancier when you say LATAM, right? Let's see if this, now let's create the address. Let's see if it exists. It's not available because it's very common. LATAM Blogging 101. This one is available, so I'm going to use it. Okay, and that's it. I have created a blog, right? So it's quite simple to create a blog. There are two designs that you can choose in Blogger. This is the new Blogger design, and there is an old Blogger which is called the Legacy Blogger. Personally, I think it's easier to use the Legacy Blogger account. I hope that you cannot hear the music because one of my neighbors just decided to pump up their music. So this is the old design, right? Did you notice what I did? So here at the very bottom of the control panel, you can choose the new Blogger, which is this design. It's a little bit more abstract in my opinion. And then you have the Legacy Blogger design, which looks like this. It doesn't matter which one you use. I will show you where everything is with both designs. Personally, I like this one better. And this is the control panel. This is the backstage from your blog. So my blog looks like this, but in here, it looks like this. So let's talk about how to set up everything in your blog. So the most important thing that you're going to use is this one, the settings. This is another blog. This account is in Spanish, so I would like you to see where everything is. Okay, so I'm getting into my blog. And here I have the configuración. So it's settings or configuración is exactly the same thing. Do you see the different designs? This design is the legacy design, and this design is the new design. It's exactly the same thing, but with different designs. So I will do the activities in both designs so you can be familiarized with both, okay? So let's now create a tutor blog, and let's create a class blog. The very first thing that we're going to do is to create a tutor blog. To create a tutor blog, get into the settings, and then you have to go to the basic part. This is the most important controls. In here you can see the title of your blog. This can be changed at any moment. You can add a description if you want to. You can also choose if search engines can find your blog or not. If you want to keep your blog super secret or super private, my suggestion is that you say no, that you don't allow search engines to find your blog. Okay, I'm going to save these changes. Why not? Well, if someone gets into Google and searches for blogging 101, they will find my blog. But if I ask my blog to not be visible to search engines, I avoid that they find me, okay? Also, this is the address. And this is the thing that makes the difference, the permissions. In the permissions, you choose who are the blog authors, and you choose who are the readers. Let me close the window because the music is really, really loud. So in a tutor blog, the only author is you, okay? So in a tutor blog, the only author should be you. What's the difference with a class blog? In a class blog, you have to add authors. Now, what you should know about this is that every author that you have in Blogger must be a Gmail account user, okay? And then you have the blog readers. If you want to make your blog super, super, super safe, you can edit the readers. And then you can add in here, you can choose if it's private, which means only the authors in the blog can read it. So for example, if you want to practice and you want no one to be able to see your blog, my suggestion is that you make it private only for blog authors, and the only author is you. If you do this, you will be able to post whatever you want and to practice, and no one will be able to read your blog. If you want to share this with your students, or maybe with some colleagues, if you're going to be practicing, then you can choose a group of readers. You can add them here, okay? You can include the readers in here, like this. If you click on add readers, then you can add people. You can choose them from your contacts as well. And finally, you can also choose it as public, okay? So how to create a tutor blog? You have to make sure that in here, the only author is you, the teacher, okay? So let me check. Here we are. Okay, so this is how to create a tutor blog. Now, how do I do this with this version, which is the new design of Blogger, it's very likely that if you create your blog, your brand new blog, what you will get is this new design. So let me show you how this works. Once again, you get into your blog. This is the control panel, and you get into configuración or settings. Do you notice the difference? In here, I have several sections, and I can navigate them here. In this design, the same sections are in here. They are embedded in this part, okay? So you can have a description of the blog. You can choose the name of the blog, the language of the blog. You can also decide if this has adult content. I don't think you will have adult content. And then here you have the permisos, okay, or the settings, which is who is the administrator and the blogs and the author, sorry. So in here you can see I am the administrator, but I can have more authors as well, okay? So if only my name is here, this means that this is a tutor blog. If I click here, if I click here, I can invite other people to participate in my blog as an author. What can an author do? They can post, they can publish posts in your blog. Something important to know here, for people to be an author, they have to have a Gmail account, okay? And then you have the readers, el acceso a la lectura, and in here you can change if it's private, only for the authors, if you want to choose a list of readers, or if you want to make it public. If you choose a list of readers, then you have to say who are the readers, okay? You invite the readers by adding their emails here. I have added some readers who are not Gmail users. So it is possible to have readers that are not Gmail users. My suggestion is that everyone has a Gmail account because it's easier to move around all the tools that you have in Google, right? So, well, this is how you create a tutor blog and how you create a class blog. Okay, so that's the difference. As you can see, it doesn't look like very complicated, right? So in a tutor blog, the only author is you, the teacher, and in a class blog, the author is you plus your students. So now let's create a post, okay? I am going to show you, whoops, spoiler alert, there's homework. So let's get into my browser, okay? Let me check the chat. I think there's a question. So Pedro is asking, Gmail account means students with their institutional emails. I don't know if your institution is using Gmail. Gmail has this service for many institutions, and they provide the platform that works. Something important, once again, is to explore how much control you want to have in a blog. So it's quite important, as I mentioned previously, that you take into account your students' age, their interests, how much they know to use technology. So probably before using a blog, you would have to give a lesson on the basics about the blog. Take that into account, right? Especially if you're having a class blog. So I am getting into my Blogging 101 blog. Here it is. This is the class blog. And these are the posts, and here's where I manage all my posts. I am going to the new Blogger design because it's very likely, once again, that you will have this design. So in order to create a post, the only thing that I have to do is to get into here, right, in posts, and hold on. And I have to click on a little button that has a plus sign, that it's right here. You see it? So once again, I get into the posts, and in here I have a plus sign. You click there, and that's it. Okay, this is how you create a post. So for example, let's call this post, this is a demo post, right? We're very clear. So you can enter text, blah, 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 blah. You can also enter pictures. So for example, let's say that I want to tell my students, look at the picture and describe it in the comments, right? So I write the sentence here, and then I'm going to insert a picture. I can upload this, whoops. I can upload this from my computer. And let's browse. Here I was ready for this. Okay, so here I have a picture, and this is it. If you want to change how this picture looks, you just have to click on the picture, and in here you can choose if it's aligned to the left, to the right, in the middle, and you can also even make it smaller or larger, and you can include text, right? So I'm going to include this question, what happened? And that's it. Okay. So I can also include links. So for example, if I want my students to visit a website to read more information about this text, I can insert a link like this. I can create it. Okay. In this part on top, what you're going to see is the text to display. So I want it to be called click here. And then the URL is this one, right? That's it. Okay. There it is. I have included a link. And I would also like to include a video. Okay. You can upload a video from your computer, or you can take a video from YouTube. So for example, let's say real tornado. I'm looking up the video here. I'm going to choose this one. I have never seen this video. Hopefully it's okay. And that's it. Okay. So this is how you can create a post. Many years ago, I had this amazing teacher who gave me the best advice regarding platforms. Click everywhere. It's very important that you click in every single section, in every single control, learn about everything. The only thing that you shouldn't do is to buy something. But there is no way that you will unwillingly buy something. There is no way that you're going to destroy the internet or the world or launch a missile. So just click everywhere and explore Blogger. It's quite safe. It's quite easy to use. And something extra about working with blogs. It's very important that you label whatever you do. In this case, they are called labels, but the technical name is tags. So make sure that you include tags that are clear for your students so you can accommodate the information in your blog. So for example, if this corresponds to Unit 4, my suggestion is that you include a label that it's called Unit 4. Okay, so I'm creating this label. And the topic is tornadoes. Okay, and I included it. Now I can publish this right away. If I click here, I save the information, but I don't publish this. So this will happen once in a while. Maybe you are working on a post, but you don't want to publish it just yet. You can save it, and that's it. You save it and you leave. And as you can see, here is my post, but it's a draft, which means that it's not public and I can modify it later. So now it's later, let's modify it. The other thing that I can do is to program when I want this to be published. This is super cool because, for example, you can create your blogs and then you can set dates, right? Like I want this post to be published on June the 19th at 4:50 p.m., right? And that's it. Or if you want to make it automatic, you just click here and you publish, right? Now, if you want a preview, if you want to see what this will look like before you publish this, you click on the little eye, and this way you will get a preview. This is what your post looks like, right? And as you can see, everything is here, right? The labels or tags, the video, the link, etc., etc. So this is how this works. Now I'm going to publish this, right? And now it's ready to be seen in my blog. If you want to see the real thing, you click on the eye, and this is what it really looks like. So as you can see, this link is working. If I click on the link, it takes me to the website. It says it doesn't exist. I didn't pay attention to that part. And then here's the video, right? And it's working, as you can see. So this is the way to create a post. Now, what happens if you think about it and you decide you don't want to have this? You only have to click here if you want to delete this completely, or if you want to make this a draft so you can continue working on this later, you just revert it, right? So this is how this works. This is how you make a post. And once again, in this Blogging 101 blog that I have created for you, you will see the Welcome to Blogging post where you have the survey. You will have the What is a Blog section, in which I included links to the reference texts that I used. Sorry, it's just my cat is protesting because she is locked up in here with me. Here you have the glossary. The glossary is the same one that I gave you with the PDF. But this one, if you would like to add something extra, you can include it here, okay? And I also have created 3 extra posts. One is called Step by Step to Create a Blog. If you want to create your blog and maybe you forgot some of the information that I shared with you, you can come into the blog and check in here, and all the information that I just shared with you is here. Okay, so in case that you would like to come back. Also, I will be monitoring this blog during the week. So if while you're creating your blog you have a question, you can post a comment in here with a question, and I will come back to you as fast as possible, okay? I also have created a post on how to create a tutor blog, which is basically, remember what I mentioned, you have to make sure that the only author is you. And then I included some extra information about the comments and how to make them safer. And finally, the last post is this one, which is how to create a class blog, right? And in this class blog, I have already included some extra authors, and this is what this looks like. I would like to say that to create these tutorials, these short tutorials, I used this other version, the legacy version of Blogger. So if you are having some trouble with the design, with the new design, that it's a little bit more, it has less information on, for me, it's less friendly. You can always revert by clicking on the button and going into the legacy. Well, in Spanish, it's called Versión Heredada, the blogger, okay? That's the name in Spanish. So this is the way this works. As you can see, I already have some drafts. I already have some posts that are ready to go. And again, the idea is that you blog as much as possible. So now time flies because it's almost over. It's almost 5 o'clock. And there is an important homework that I have to assign, okay? I know, homework. But you know that homework is good when it gives you some extra practice, right? So the very first homework is to create a Gmail account in case you don't have one, or to create a Gmail account for your secret personality, right? Your Batman or Superman profile, which is your teacher profile. Also, set up your blog. Decide if you want to start a tutor blog or a class blog. In here, I wrote learner blog, but I meant class blog. And create your first post. If you would like to share some comments, if you have some questions, you can reach me any time of the week in the blog. Again, blogging101 richmond.blogspot.com. That's the name of the blog for this class. And well, that's today's session. So now you know what a tutor blog is, what a class blog is, what a learner blog is, and you already know how to set up a tutor blog or a class blog using Blogger, right? Those were today's objectives. Please try to do this homework, try to practice this. It won't take much time, but it's very important that you start getting familiarized with it. And if you have any further questions, this is my email. I am Magdalena Tiburcio. My email is mtiburcio@richmonddlt.com. And the name of the blog for this class is blogging101richmond.blogspot.com. I have another blog where I post ideas. Next session, we will explore ideas for tutor blogs, and we will focus on the privacy settings. So that's the objective for next session. And if you have the time, visit these blogs to explore them and get some extra ideas. I would like to check if you have any questions. Let me open the chat. I think so far there aren't any questions right now.
Maybe, Mag, just remind teachers to also do the questionnaire.
Right. Yes. Visit the blogging101richmond.blogspot.com, and on the very first post, there's the questionnaire. Once again, the questionnaire is just to help you reflect on what kind of blog you would like to have. And then next session, we can have more fun by creating posts and exploring the things that students can do and maybe doing some more practical things, right? So when is the homework due, Pedro? Well, preferably before Tuesday, 4 o'clock next week, okay? So if you do your homework anytime before Tuesday would be great. If you have questions, feel free to send me an email or to write a comment in the blog. I will be checking the blog every single day in case that you add some comments, okay? So, well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope this initial information has been interesting. It becomes more and more interesting every time because we will be learning about the kinds of tasks and posts that we can create. Okay? So, questions?
Mag, I'm getting questions here. I don't know if you can see them. There's a teacher asking if they have to upload the homework. I guess it's about whether they have to publish and make it visible to you or not.
Yeah, it's not necessary that you send me your homework. What happened in the previous course is that some teachers created their blog and they sent me in an email their link to visit the blog. If you want to do that, that's okay. It's really if you have questions, okay? So Cesar is saying, what about if I already have a personal blog? Well, that's fine. Your homework is done, I think. If you already have a personal blog, I think the next step would be trying to create a class blog, trying to add authors to your blog. Once again, I strongly suggest that you don't mix your personal Gmail account with your class Gmail account because you never know what can happen, right?
Sorry to
Yes,
ask you to go back. Can you show teachers how to access the questionnaire from the class blog, please?
sure. Let me get into the real blog. Let me get to the browser. Here I am. In order to access this, this questionnaire, this is blogging101richmond.blogspot.com. The name of the post is, oh, hold on. I cannot see it. Where is it? Here it is. The name of the blog is Welcome to Blogging 101. And there is a hyperlink. The hyperlink says, complete this short questionnaire. If you click here, this takes you to the questionnaire, right? I am going to copy and paste this once again in the chat to make sure that everybody can see it. If you click there on the link that I shared with you, it should take you to this post, and you only have to click on the hyperlink, okay? Any more questions that maybe I didn't see?
Thank you, Mag. Just one more question here that I've already answered. If they want to share with you the link to their newly created blogs, it has to be before next session.
Yes, and I am also including my email in the chat box. It's mtiburcio@richmonddlt.com. If you want to, you can send me a link to your blog to my email. Send me an email with a link to your blog. Sorry, there is a cat next to me. You might see it any moment now. The thing is that you can send me a link to your blog and I can visit it. Once again, this is not compulsory, but if you want me to see your blog or if you have questions, I think it's a great opportunity that you send me an email or that you add comments to the blog in the class, okay?
Sorry, Mag, just one more question about the need for the Gmail account. Someone is asking whether authors need to have an email account and readers also, or whether readers can have a non-Gmail account.
All the authors must have a Gmail account, that's for sure. And for readers, it's not necessary. I have had readers with Hotmail accounts or with institutional accounts. So it's only for the authors that they must be Gmail accounts.
Thank you.
Yes, I didn't notice that I was posting my answers privately to some people.
No, but now we can see them.
Yes, I already posted them publicly. Sorry, I am a little bit slow with Zoom, but I promise to get better.
You're doing great. Thank you.
Okie dokes. So if there aren't any more questions, I think that that's it for today. And don't forget to reach out in case you have questions. Feel free to send me an email or write comments in the blog. I will be checking them every day.
Mag, thank you very much. Thank you, teachers, for joining us. And we will see you next week on Tuesday, misma hora, mismo canal. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye. Thank you, Jime.
Bye. Bye-bye.